Coming at you from the trees of Central City. I was about to say San Francisco. We're not there this week, though. We're kind of everywhere.
This week
entering the multiverse this week, dude.
We are very fitting for the movie we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Fitting a lot of movies this year, apparently.
I know, dude. And last year, we're just so much multiverse shit, bro.
It's like once one franchise introduces someone on this scale, like everyone just rolls with it. They're like, "Yep, it worked for them. Let's go." And I feel like Spider-Verse was the movie that started all this, and not fucking Marvel, not the MCU.
Yeah, well, MCU. I mean, the DC's always been like more into doing multiverse stuff than
they've already
Marvel
done
has.
it.
At least faster.
They've done it in the animated movies before, and the animated shows. They did it in the Arrowverse, so we've seen it in live action.
Yeah, I mean, they were hinting at it with I think Elseworlds had some stuff about it. I think that came out before for sure before Spider-Man No Way Home or Doctor Strange 2 or anything like that. So
yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, dude.
But the movie,
I don't know. I feel like I have so many clear memories of the Arrowverse still, but then it also feels like that was 10 years ago, and I just haven't watched it in forever.
I think about it sometimes, or when friends are talking about it, I'm like, I remember that, and I remember some of it back with fondness, and some of it back with not so much. But
yeah, we're talking about The Flash. That movie came out.
It did. Finally. It's real.
Yeah. Dude, it took so long. I remember I had this memory of me when I was I was probably 12 years old or 13 years old. And I would watch this video on YouTube that had the entire upcoming slate for all the DC movies. And it had The Flash coming out in 2018. And I remember showing my dad and being like, "Dad, there's a Flash movie coming out in 2018. And I was so excited. And now it finally comes out in 2023.
Yeah, I was
kind of wild.
I was 14 when they announced the movie originally, I'm pretty sure. And now I'm 23, so yeah, it's been a minute.
I know. It's been so long. We thought it was going to come out, obviously we knew it got delayed early, but it just felt like delay after delay. I did not know if this shit was going to come out, especially once all the drama with Ezra Miller started happening. I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah, before that, they couldn't find a director for the movie. It took forever for,
I know! They went through, 3 directors before they landed on Andy Muschietti.
Yeah, it took forever for Muschietti to get there, because directors were coming in for this movie while he was still working on it too, bro. That's how long this movie has been in development.
That's insane! Oh my god.
He had time to...
I need to watch that movie.
He had time to finish the post-production of a whole nother movie before he even stepped into the picture for The Flash. It's bro, what was going on?
I know, it's crazy. But it does finally come out after a lot of anticipation. Honestly, dude, the reactions have been so mixed to this movie. It's been pretty crazy. I've seen some people being like, it's the best DC thing ever, absolutely love it. And then other people are calling it one of the worst blockbusters to ever come out. The range of opinions on this movie is so insane.
Is that not just almost every DC movie at this point? I feel like...
That's true.
I don't know.
That's fair.
I feel like the Batman... we kind of still got that to a lesser degree, but it was the least like that. But as for every movie that's been in about to end the Snyderverse, whatever you want to call it, besides Wonder Woman, I don't think any of them were perceived great as a whole.
No, I don't either. But, dude, it's still so weird to me that, this movie comes out and we know James Gunn is, transferring into his own thing, but we still have Aquaman 2 coming out later this year.
Yeah,
so weird.
I don't know. I haven't cared about Aquaman 2 just because, I don't know. I didn't care about the first one, really. It didn't do anything for me, and it hurts me to say because I love James Wan. But, the first Aquaman just doesn't hit me anywhere, special. So having a second one, and it being the last movie that's going to feature in this universe, is kind of doesn't get me going or anything.
Yeah, I'm not very excited for it at all. I thought the first one was fun enough. I don't have strong feelings towards it either way. I don't love it, but I don't think it's a bad movie necessarily. It's kind of right in the middle for me, whatever.
I think it looks beautiful, and outside of that, I can take or leave.
Yeah, I don't know. But, obviously a big drawing point for the two of us for The Flash was seeing Michael Keaton come back as Batman. That was, didn't they announce that at, the first DC fandom or something?
Maybe. I think it might have been a little before that. I don't remember, though.
A little before? Dude, I remember when that news came out, and I was shocked, to be honest. It makes sense if they're doing a Flashpoint thing. to bring him back, but definitely shocked and definitely got me excited. Even though I wish they would have done a Batman Beyond project with Michael Keaton, that would have been my first choice to bring him back.
Or they would have canceled Batgirl because. Nah, I mean, that was going to be similar to a Batman Beyond type thing, but it's going to be Batgirl. So that would have still been cool.
Yeah, that's such a shame.
Really.
But anyways, movie finally comes out. We've both seen it.
And Michael Keaton's
I don't really know.
Not in much of this movie, so Batman fans don't get.
He's actually not. Yeah, I mean, if he's like the one reason you're excited to see this movie, I don't know. You might be disappointed.
Yeah, unless you just want a really good performance for like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
he's probably in a little.
But anyways, I don't know if you want to start with like overall thoughts or get into any specific details or what. But
I thought it was pretty good overall, and I don't know where they missed. They kind of like really missed, and where they hit, they really hit. So it's a little all over the place. I think up until the third act, it was a pretty good to great movie, and then it kind of just starts to fall apart.
Yeah, I agree with that. I loved parts of it so much. I thought, like you said, the first two acts were great, for the most part. I mean, not everything worked for me, but so much of it was working, and then we'll get into it specifically, but yeah, I thought their third act was quite a bit of a letdown compared to what they had set up with the first two, but, yeah, I don't know. To me, one thing I was thinking about, like, the movie makes a lot of sense if you think of it as, like, they knew this was their one Flash movie they were going to get to tell in this DC universe. Like, the story they go for, it makes sense, because it has a lot of aspects of the DCEU. Flashpoint is an iconic Flash story, and they still get to focus on Barry, like, quite a bit, actually. I was surprised by how much focus was still on, like, the Barry Allen story and the Flash, given all the promotion for, like, Batman and Michael Keaton and Supergirl and all that other stuff. They're still in the movie and definitely, like, play a role, but I do think overall it's still a Flash movie, so I like that at least.
Oh, it's undoubtedly a Flash movie. He's in it way more than any character. I don't know if there's like a single scene that the Flash is not in. I think he's in like every scene of this movie.
Yeah, I think so too. I can't think of a scene he's not in, so.
Yeah, so like, the movie follows him, and for anyone that was like, maybe worrying that it wasn't gonna be a Flash movie, and Batman was just gonna come in, steal the show, Supergirl was gonna come in, steal the show. No, not at all. This is a Flash movie, so we can say it. Yeah. We officially have a fucking Flash movie after however many years it's been since the character was created.
Oh my god. So long, dude. And it's not even like in animation, like we have so many Batman films and stuff. The Flash has like one true animated movie to himself too, and it's like the same story as this one. So
yeah, and it doesn't even carry his name with it though. It's Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox. So like, I know he gets the Flashpoint like, part. You can put together, Flashpoint. That's a Flash story, and he's on the cover, of course. But everything else, it's like, which it still is a Justice League movie. So fair enough.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's definitely a Flash movie. That movie is too, and I'll go ahead and say this. I prefer the animated one to the live-action one for anyone that maybe cares.
Yeah, I agree. Significantly, I think this one, the one that just came out, is still good. I'm a little nervous to watch it again and see how my thoughts change, but I definitely liked it overall. But the Flashpoint Paradox is one of my favorite DC animated movies. I think that movie is incredible. So, kind of a high bar, but I agree.
Yeah, I never read the original comic, but I'm assuming the animated movie is more or less what the comic was, which probably helps it in that case. But, like, I saw it, since I haven't read the comic and only seen the animated movie. In this movie, I was looking out for things that were, like, gonna be the same, and once they got to showing Barry's origin, this is not an origin movie by any means, but they do show how he gets his powers. That's also in the animated movie, where he has to get his powers back. And I thought it was gonna be, like, almost shot for shot, which it started out being, and then, like, once they go, the second round, they change it up.
Yeah. For sure. But yeah, there are a lot of parallels and differences between like that animated movie and this one. I think overall, like the animated movie just felt more cohesive in what it was going for. Like this movie, I think some of its faults, especially once it like goes on later, is it kind of loses like what it wants to be a little bit, or it gets like too confusing and I don't know. I love the movie, or I like the movie a lot, but there's definitely a lot of problems, I think, like, the more I think about it, just with the story and everything.
Yeah, definitely. Overall, I think the Flash is the best character in this movie, which helps it, which is the reason I think it is a good movie, since, the whole movie does follow one or both versions of himself. So if you aren't invested in that character, the movie's not going to work. And yeah,
I agree.
The whole plot is him trying to fix his mess too, for people that wanted more Zod, I do understand, because I also would have loved to see more Zod. I love Michael Shannon. I think he's phenomenal, and I think him in Man of Steel was one of the best villain performances to come out of this entire universe. But it's Barry's story. Like, the whole plot is not stopping Zod. We already saw Superman stop Zod in Man of Steel. The whole plot is Barry fixing his mess.
Yeah, and we talked about the Flash and, how he kind of carries the whole movie, and it kind of runs through him. And behind that, I guess I'll just talk about Ezra Miller's performance, because I think it's probably the highlight of this movie. I think they are awesome. They play like dual roles, which is very hard to do, and I just thought their ability to like differentiate the two Barrys and make them seem like different characters or different versions of Barry, but from different points in time, still being that same person. I thought it was a challenging role, and I honestly thought they knocked it out of the park, which surprised me, because obviously there's been so much drama and allegations and stuff coming out from them, and I've never been like a huge fan of their acting. I've always thought they're talented, but I thought Ezra Miller was the best part of this movie.
Yeah, similar here. I never loved Ezra Miller in anything. I thought they were fine. They were suitable for most of the roles I saw them in, but even like in the Justice League movies, in the theatrical and the Snyder one, I prefer him in the Snyder cut, but I prefer like everything in that movie to the theatrical. But I never loved him as Barry. So going into this movie, I'm like, I'm sure he's going to be better because he'll have more to do, right? But I don't expect him to be that much better. And like, the impressive thing is, like, it's still the same character. They write him very smartly in this, too. Like, you can tell he's the same character from Justice League and JL. And they carry that over and give him more emotional depth here. So it kind of sucks that everything fell through with them and that they were kind of an asshole. And I'm hoping they are getting the help that they need, but this performance blew me away. It blew me away. I did not expect it because I've never loved them in anything. Until now, which is unfortunate given real life circumstances.
It is very unfortunate. I think I said to you over text, I think there's an argument you can make that this is the second best performance in a DC movie behind Heath Ledger's Joker. I'm not sure if it would be that for me, but I think after Heath, he's in that conversation of the next guys. So incredible performance, and I think the movie would be a lot worse if it didn't have that performance from both of the Barry Allens. They just made that work so well.
Oh yeah, if it's going to be that good, you're going to have to get a performance that's on level with what Ezra gave us here. And, dual roles, like you said, that's not an easy thing to do. I don't know how many actors could actually pull that off. But yeah, other performances in the movie, they were really good. But Ezra's, of course, stands out because they are in the entire movie. They have every other line of dialogue in this film, and a lot of scenes are just them talking to themselves. So
yeah, no, it's a tough role. I thought they nailed it. I know you're a big Ben Affleck fan and Batfleck fan. He comes back in this movie. What did you think of Ben Affleck's Batman in the limited role that he had?
I liked him. He didn't really do much, so
he did not get that much to do.
Like, I'm glad we got to see Ben one more time in the bat suit and as Bruce, and just get a little bit of goodbye. What he said to Barry was wise, and it takes Barry some time to like realize what Bruce was really telling him and that he was right. But he does come to realize that. You see Barry get wiser in this movie. So I think his role was integral to the film and setting up everything, but it was just nice seeing him again because it's probably going to be the last time we see him as Batman.
Yeah, I agree. Probably the last time we see him as Batman. I don't think his Batman always had the strongest stuff written on the page in terms of like the script and the writing for his character, but I always thought that Ben Affleck brought a lot to that role and always gave a good performance. I thought the writing for him in this movie and what limited time he had had was very in line with what we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. I thought that carryover and evolution from that movie was played really well here. I liked seeing him. Kind of wish he would have been in a little more of the movie, maybe, but there's so many characters that they decided to pack into this movie that probably makes sense for him to have just the role that he had.
Yeah, I don't know when we're gonna get into, spoilers here. It should probably be soon, because I don't know how much else I can say.
Yeah, I don't know. We can, whatever you want to say. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Let's just go ahead and jump into it, because I don't know what this is spoilerly at all, but I thought that at the end, the multiverse scene, when they were going through the multiverse showing all of them, I thought there was going to be more, honestly, and I don't know why they didn't show more of, Flashes. Why not give Grant Gustin a nod there and give the 90s show Flash a nod there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely weird, because it seems like the leap they took, to show, a reanimated version of Christopher Reeve's Superman and Nicolas Cage's Superman that never even actually happened, even though it's a cool nod to, diehard fans who know that story.
Yeah, I thought
it felt very weird that...
I thought the main reason they put the Nicolas Cage thing in there was because it was supposed to be Burton, and Keaton was in this movie, so they possibly that's the Superman. Maybe that was the Superman of Keaton's universe or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, but I just think the choices they made, they already seemed so far or out there, and so why wouldn't you go bigger or maybe pick some more that would make a little bit more sense for the story? Mainly, like you said, bringing some more Flashes. That's a good point.
Yeah, they show one Jay Garrick, and it's just a generic Jay Garrick, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a Flash movie, though, so it didn't really... Why are you just showing us Batman and Superman and not, all the other DC characters? I love Batman and Superman like everyone else, but... Well, I'd say everyone else, but, most people... a lot of people probably hate one or the other.
That's true. But, honestly, dude, again, my favorite parts of this movie were definitely the first two acts. I feel like a lot of this film in sort of the later half of the first act and start of the second act, where it's kind of just the two Barrys figuring things out and running around, kind of felt very much like an 80s movie, sort of like Back to the Future, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They kind of had some of those vibes for me that I really enjoyed. It was just fun to see them interact with each other on.
Yeah, the humor sometimes really worked in this movie, and sometimes it was sometimes it just went on too long.
Yeah, I agree. I think humor was in there.
Yeah, I think it was a bigger problem at the beginning of the movie than at the end the humor was, but I think it took a minute for him to figure it out.
Yeah, I do too. I will say I thought the humor worked better than most of the recent MCU movies have for me. I don't think it was amazing humor, but to me it never felt totally overbearing or completely took me out of the movie. And a lot of it landed for me. Some of it didn't for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the moment where he gets the text from Bruce at the beginning and he's about to take off, it was just for the trailers, I'm convinced, where the kids stop him. They're like, Flash! That scene went on way too long. I'm you should have ended that 20 seconds. It ran up for a minute and a half.
Yeah. Absolutely, I think.
Yeah, same sequence, really. It's the lasso true scene when Wonder Woman just shows up from out of nowhere, which I was not expecting. It was really nice to see Gal Gadot. Or Gal Gadot?
It was.
I don't know how to say her name.
I think it's Gadot.
To this day, I still don't know how to say her name. And it's a 5-letter word. But, yeah, her showing up, it was nice seeing her. The lasso scene went on a little too long. When Batman was starting to open up, it was funny at first, and then he just kept saying things. I'm like, no, take the lasso off, Diana. This is too much. And then Barry starts to spill, and it's okay, this should have ended.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely go too far with a lot of it. I thought Hit and Miss was a story for a lot of elements of this movie. I think as far as dialogue goes, I was kind of confused because I think there's a ton of dialogue in this movie that I think absolutely works and is really good, specifically in quieter scenes or more emotionally driven lines. I felt they always hit on those, but then there's a lot of lines that feel thrown in or kind of lines that are meant to get nostalgia going, when they see Batman, and they're like leading up to Michael Keaton saying, "I'm Batman," and the "Let's Get Nuts" stuff. Some of that to me just felt like it threw me off because it felt like they were reaching for that like nostalgia cash in. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, the "wanna get nuts, let's get nuts" thing was totally forced in, which from the trailer I felt like it was, because I just didn't see in what sense, especially with the shot that it is, what he would be saying for that to make any kind of sense.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of that. That theme kind of, for me, carries throughout the movie. Like,
it kind of makes sense with Burton's Batman, though, because do you remember in Batman Returns when he's talking to the Penguin, and Penguin asks Batman, "You don't really think you'll win, do you?" And Batman's response to that is, "Things change." And it's like, Batman, you never lost, bro. What are you talking about? That makes no sense.
Yeah. No, maybe that was their goal, to keep that up, but I think it was just forcing some nostalgic lines in there, which is okay, but I definitely think at times some of the cameos in the like overall DC universe and just the craziness of this movie kind of undercuts it, because I was actually very surprised how much I was into like the core Flashpoint story that they were doing with Barry and his mom and everything like that, and kind of the themes of learning that, you know, you can't change the past and your scars make you who you are. All that stuff I thought was executed really well, and I thought specifically once you get into the third act, there's just a lot of noise that I think kind of undercuts some of the emotional, like how hard it hits. But that could just be me. I don't know.
I agree. I think the most handled character that was handled the most properly with the emotion was definitely Barry. They don't really let the emotional moments hit the way they need to with a lot of other characters. There's either too much noise going around, or they let it play too long or not long enough, or I don't know. They don't, just everything around them doesn't seem like it should be for such an emotional and impactful moment of the film.
Yeah. So we're already into spoilers. You want to talk about Keaton's death? Or
yeah.
Is that...
So,
yeah.
It was so disappointing for me, because I don't know, I said going into this, like, bro, if they kill Michael Keaton, I'm probably gonna cry. I felt absolutely nothing. I felt nothing once he died, because it's like, really? That's how he died?
Yeah. I don't know, I kind of agree. Like, I think on paper, like, the lines that they use, like the, like Barry being like, "I can't bring you back," and then Michael Keaton goes, "You already did." I think that's a good line for that moment, but the circumstance of it and the, like, pacing of it, it made it not land at all. Like, I was just like, I agree, I didn't really feel that much, which is really disappointing, because Michael Keaton's one of my all-time favorite Batmans, and did a lot for me growing up, so that was kind of sad.
Yeah, it's not the send-off I wanted for this version of Batman at all. So that makes Batgirl hurt even more now.
I know, that hurts so much. But at least I would say if there's a bright side to that, that's the only moment involving Keaton's Batman that I think is just utterly lackluster in this movie. I think a lot of the other stuff with him is pretty great.
I agree. I think his performance is great, and even in that moment it's great. It's just not... I don't know if it was the tone or just the setting of the film or the fact that they had already killed him once. I don't know. Just so many things took away from the levity of it, and it's unfortunate, because he is my favorite live-action Batman to this point. But hey, I love all the other Batman too, so I still got some Batman that are living.
We've gotten so lucky with the Batman castings in most of the movies for Batman fans, dude. Like, and we talk about this all the time, but I don't think there's been a truly bad live-action Batman. I mean, Kilmer's my least favorite, and I think Clooney, like, the idea of his casting was much better than what it turned out to be, obviously, but I still love George Clooney as an actor, so...
Clooney's got a really good spirit about it, too. Like, Batman and Robin didn't hurt him, so he's okay. He's okay with people.
Yeah. Okay enough to even come back for the ending of this movie, believe it or not.
Might as well bring it up now. Yeah, the Bruce, once Barry gets back, is George fucking Clooney. Man, that's so great. I loved it.
I loved it too. I mean, the only thing for me, like, this is probably a victim of circumstance where, like, this movie is sort of the culmination of this entire, like, DCEU, Snyderverse, whatever run. Yeah. Obviously, we have Aquaman 2, but this is kind of it. And so if you think of, like, the movie and in extension of that, the universe ending with, like, a comedic joke about George Clooney Batman, I don't know if it works. But I love the moment in a vacuum. I think it's really funny.
I still am fine with it because I don't really know what it's supposed to mean, but also, we know Ezra isn't going to be the Barry going forward, so having Bruce be Clooney in that universe is fine, since we're never going to go back to it anyway, so.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I love seeing Clooney back. He looked great. I knew something was off once Barry started, like, talking on the phone. But I didn't know exactly what they were going to do, and then he stepped out of the car, and I was like, oh, George Clooney!
I knew about the rumors about him, even though I never go on social media. I hear people talk about it. I knew about the rumors, like, what if Clooney shows up as Bruce at the end or whatever? I'm like, that'd be pretty cool. And then, you know, you can tell they added it on, though. I think they saw the fans, like, talking it up or something, or like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. What do you think, this is something I thought about, what do you think about doing Flashpoint without Reverse Flash, like, clearly? Because for me, I like Zod, and I like seeing him back, but for him to be kind of the main thing that everyone goes up against in the end, like, just as a comics and DC and Flash fan, I would have preferred if Reverse Flash was in this movie, but I understand the choice to not directly do him as well.
My question is just, why? See, I thought that the speedster that pushed him out after he went back to save his mom, I thought that might end up being Reverse Flash or something. Like him wanting
that thought too.
Him wanting to show Barry what he had done, what he fucked up, and see the world destroyed. Like, that's what happens. But then it just ends up being a future version of himself, and I'm like, he kind of looked like Savitar at the beginning, too. I'm like, they weren't doing Savitar in this movie, are they? And they kind of did. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on, bro? What? Why not just have it be Heaterboard? And then be like, yeah,
I know.
I wanted to see everything you love fucking fall.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely, I didn't really love the future him, like, how that all played out in the end.
It was just really, it was really weird. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, there's just a lot of that stuff at the end there I'm not a huge fan of, although I do think they really bring it back once they go back to the grocery store and they have that final scene with Barry and his mom. That worked for me. That was a great scene, in my opinion.
Speaking of the grocery store, so Barry's idea, like, this actually makes sense, is he knows he can't be seen by his mom or his dad or whatever, so he just is like, what can I do to not directly interact with them to save my mom? And if his dad doesn't have to go back to the store to get tomatoes, his mom never gets killed.
Right.
So he just throws tomatoes in his dad's cart. And yeah, that works. But it also throws everything else off. So something that little can destroy the world still.
Yeah.
So
I was a big fan of how they, indeed. I was a big fan of how they used, Michael Keaton to kind of be the explainer to dummies of how the whole time travel thing was going to work. Cause obviously, like, it's Bruce Wayne. He's a smart guy. Even though he doesn't have, like, superpowers or anything, it makes sense that he would know how time works and be able to explain it to someone like Barry, who's younger and doesn't know what's happening. So I thought that was a great moment with the spaghetti and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like in Endgame, how they're like, yeah, Tony Stark, he can figure out time travel, even though he's just a fucking guy. Like, he...
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
And he does it somehow.
Of all people on this earth, we're just gonna go to the most popular superhero and the richest one.
Makes sense to me. But yeah, there's so many great moments, I think, in that first spot with Michael Keaton when he comes in and he's like throwing pans at them and stuff, and he's got all the long hair, and then he realizes he has to help Barry, and that stuff was some of my favorite in the movie.
He was just like in the cupboard. I'm like, why is Bruce just hanging out in there? Why, of all places to hide, is he in there?
He's brooding, bro. He's brooding in the closet. Chill.
It's like Selena never went out. Fucking Vicky Vale. Oh, why can't I have love?
I know. Let's see. What else is there to talk about with this movie? Oh, Supergirl. We haven't talked about Supergirl yet.
Oh, yeah. So, I like how Flash was just, the whole time, once Zod shows up, he's just looking for Superman. He's like, Superman is the only one that can beat Zod. And they go rescue what they think is going to be Superman, realize it's not Clark, still save her, which is something that comes back to later. But I think the whole escape scene with her is pretty good. I like the use of her powers the first time. Like, it's a trailer shot, but once she rises up and she's flying, they're like,
yeah,
oh shit. Which that's
damn.
That's a similar scene to like the animated movie once they rescue Superman and he just lasers all those like military and SWAT. I'm like, oh my god. Even Superman, scrawny as heck, on the brink of death is still powerful as all get out.
Yeah. Bro, I might have missed this. Do they explain where Supergirl's suit or costume comes from? Like, did she have it with her in the, like, torture chamber? Cause they just, like, grab it off of Michael Keaton's table. And I'm like, where did this come from?
I don't know where it came from either. I don't know. Did they have, like, an inventory lock up there or something?
I have no idea. Like, that kind of confused me, but, I think her suit, her Supergirl suit, I actually love. It's one of my, not like favorite of all time comic book suits, but it's up there for me. I think it looks great.
No, I loved it. I wish we would have saw more of it, but it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it does. I thought she was cool overall. Like, obviously it was cool to see her powers, and she's pretty badass. I mean, she does some cool ass shit in this movie. But, she's also not in a lot of it either. I mean, this really is, that goes back to show, it's a Barry Allen Flash story. I mean, even during the big battle where she's fighting Zod, we spend a lot of our time with the two Barrys trying to figure out how to distract and slow down all the Kryptonians, so.
Yeah, I like the whole thing about, like Kara, she doesn't really trust humans. She's like, why should I trust you? You just locked me up for however long. And Barry's like, look,
yeah,
they aren't us. And then Kara explains that about Zod to them because they're like, well, you help us. And she said, look, Zod is Kryptonian, but he is not our people. And I don't want you to see him as our people. And I really like that moment because it's like, look, just because one of us is really bad does not mean that's us as a whole. It's true for any race of people. Like, if aliens came here, like, if Mars attacks started happening and only like one alien was killing everyone, and then they're like, look, he's not us. That's not how all of us are. So, but also Kara asking Barry, once he realized that she wasn't Clark, why did he save her? His response is simply because you needed saving. And I really just love that line. I think it speaks to who Barry is very much and like everything he's learned over the years, especially throughout the film, comparing the Barry we know to the alternate universe Barry. There's a lot of differences. You can see a lot of growth and maturity between the two. So that line just really helped pay off who Barry is.
Yeah, I agree. I think the movie kind of needed a line like that. So, just Barry at his core is a good person, you know, and, it's a really good point about, like, showing the maturity gap and what Barry's learned since having his powers, because, like, the alternate timeline Barry, you know, he hasn't really gone through saving people using his powers and everything like that, and how that changes someone. So, I really like that line for sure.
Yeah,
and overall, I like the inclusion of Supergirl. I thought she was pretty good in the limited time that he had.
Yeah, also some other differences between the Barrys. One has his mom, one doesn't. So, like, the alternate universe one kind of takes advantage of a little more than the Barry we know does. Because, you know.
Right.
That
takes that for granted.
Yeah, because that Barry knows, like, you can lose something just like that.
Yeah. Alternate timeline Barry has two parents. Has had two parents his whole life, and our Barry that we know lost his mom, and his dad's been in prison since he was little, so definitely a big, like, I really like the scene where our, like, the main Barry kind of loses it on, the younger Barry for that reason. He's like, bro, you just don't even know. Like, and younger Barry, who's just trying to have, like, a good time, and he's, like, zooming around the Batcave and shit, he's like, oh, damn, okay, my bad. It's a great, yeah, I like the differences between them. They're showed really well, I think, through the writing and performance.
Yeah, really good dichotomy, and their interactions are really good too. But do you want to just go ahead and talk about the end, the supermarket scene, his last interaction he'll ever have with his mom?
Yeah, dude, for me, that scene is the one huge bright spot in that third act. I think that third act, it's messy, it looks kind of ugly, like some of the VFX is really wonky. Not all of it makes sense with like the future Barry or whatever, but then it finally comes back to this like very human, like simple scene where Barry realizes that he has to put everything back and fix things, at least as much as he can. We find out with the George Clooney stuff, not everything is totally fixed, but he has that last moment with his mom, and he gets to like hug her and everything, and obviously he disguises himself. His mom doesn't know it's an older version of him, but I love that moment. I don't know if it quite hits me the same way as like obviously in the main Flashpoint storyline, you get that scene of like Bruce getting the letter from his dad, you know, from the other universe, and he starts crying. That's kind of the emotional conclusion of like the main storyline, and I love that one just because I'm such a Batman fan. But I think this scene really works, and honestly got me a little bit choked up. So I thought it was a great way to bring the movie back after it kind of took a big dip for me.
Yeah, it was really great emotional scene, and shout outs to Nora Allen, the actress that played her, but she's pretty great.
She is, yeah.
DC is pretty good with the moms. You know, Clark's mom's really cool. Bruce never has a mom, but Diana's mom is pretty cool. You know, yeah, all these definitely. Moms are pretty cool. Shazam's mom, Billy's mom, cool as heck. His dad also very cool.
His parents are the coolest, dude. I love the Shazam family parents.
They're so awesome. Like I wouldn't be mad if they were my parents. I'd be like, yo.
Yep.
But no, he has that last conversation with his mom, knows, you know, when he goes and grabs the tomatoes, puts them back, you know, he's got that look of like, I don't know what the right term would be, because regret doesn't really fit, but like, he doesn't want to do it, obviously. It's his mom, but he knows he has to. So just how that moment plays out, kind of slow, really works. And then he looks up and notices the security camera, which gives him the idea to, you know, save his dad, because have him look up.
Yep. Move it up to the top shelf.
Yep.
What a great moment. I was happy that it ended with his dad being able to get out of prison, to be honest.
Oh, me too, because him losing his mom again is enough. It's enough. It was already enough for his mom to be gone. Like, yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't need to lose two parents.
Yeah, dude's already had him gone long enough, hasn't had them in his dad in his life the way he needs long enough. So that was nice. It was very nice.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, I think we've covered most of it. If there's I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch on. Again, I overall do like the movie quite a bit. I just think there's some pretty bad stuff in it that unfortunately brings it down. But when this movie is good, I think it's great. Like, there's moments I absolutely love, for sure.
All right, what would you give it for a letter grade?
Letter grade?
Yeah. I think I'd give it like
probably B.
I give it like a B plus. But I don't know how that's going to hold up on rewatch. The plus.
I think I would. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would go a super solid B, just standard B. Could be moved up to a B plus, but again, I feel like it's one of those movies that's not going to hold up great on rewatch. But maybe it will. I don't know. I'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I watch this movie, it's going to be because I want to see something good with the Flash. It's not going to be because I want some Batman or some Supergirl. So
yeah, right. Like, we have so many things of great Batman stuff. I'm not going to be coming to this one for it, even though the Michael Keaton stuff is cool, and it's nice that Ben Affleck got to play this character that he's loved a long time one last time. Although I do feel bad for him because, you know, his original turn as Batman was kind of shrouded in, like, personal stuff and drama for him. And he finally comes back. He gives one last performance, and it's for this movie that has its own baggage and drama. Like, poor Ben, dude.
Yes.
Goes through so much.
It was nice seeing Ben one last time. Nice seeing Keaton one last time, both in the suit. Maybe my two favorite Batman. But, yeah, I can see them in other movies if I want to revisit their characters. But, you know, if you ever want to see something good with the Flash, this is a good watch.
It is a good watch for sure. Not without flaws, but does a lot of good. And now we've got, the new James Gunn-led DCU that's going to be coming up in the next couple years to look forward to. And I trust it, because I think James Gunn, one of the most talented guys working in Hollywood. I'm excited.
Absolutely. The man can craft a story. He knows how to write a script. He can direct a movie. Like, he's been in basically, like, every area there is of film, at least been inside the ropes a little with it. Especially writing and directing. He has so much experience with the two. So I think he's a good pick to lead the ship going forward.
I agree, for sure. But, yeah, all right. Think that's about it. Good talking with you. Yeah. Pretty good movie. I'm happy we finally came out. We got to see it.
Yeah,
definitely a good time.
I'm glad we finally got it. I'm not disappointed by it. It didn't quite meet expectations, but I don't think it was ever going to. So it didn't let me down too much.
Yeah.
I wish the third act was a little better, but aside from that, I really do enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I'd pretty much echo that. But yeah, good time.
All right, good times. Have a great time. See The Flash if you haven't.
Yeah, now we will retreat back into the forest of Central City.